Okay, everyone, welcome to our debate club meeting. Again, I'd like to thank you all for joining. I know it's Friday evening, but I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedules to come join us tonight to debate our interesting motions. Tonight we will begin with the first motion to strengthen English education, and I would like to first call up the Prime Minister from the government to introduce their topic. Please give him a round of applause.
Good evening, guys. These days our weather is so hot, but we are cool in this debate because our feeling is good. So first, I redefine our motion. The house. This house will strengthen English education. I will redefine this motion. We are in Korea. We are taking place strengthen English education. It means strengthen means we are reorganize our English education system. So now our first argument. I will tell you guys our first arguments. Our first argument is we have to reorganize English education system.
Here.
Yes. Reorganize means nowadays Korea's English education system is including grammar and reading. Just two parts of English education system. So they don't use speaking or writing about English. First, we will have the tests. We are our graduation of high school, and then we have to take a big, huge test for taking many
수능.
We are taking 수능, and then 수능 is changing for NEAT system. It means NEAT is like a English test, which is including speaking and writing. But our high school or middle school or elementary school, all of the English education system is just including not speaking, just grammar and reading. So we have to change speaking and writing. We have to include education of speaking and writing. Test is changing, education is both changing, right? And then second part is we have we have 100 of big, huge company in international society, and we have many sub company in all around the world, and then we are using co-workers or just workers. We have to choose the other countries' people like workers. So we have to use common language. It is in English, and we have to use speaking and writing about their employees system. So that is the reason of why we are reorganize English education, like add speaking and writing. And third one, when we are learning other languages, we have to use 4 parts of language: speaking, writing, and reading and grammar. But in Korea, just education system is focused on speaking and writing. No, just focus on grammar and reading. No speaking, no writing. So everyone on the road, they are walking, and stranger coming. They are not Korea, just other countries people. Just ask them where is post office or where is police office. Then everyone just confusing. No answer. Just eye contact, then nothing. Because the education system is focused on just reading and grammar. They just scared, and then they have prejudice of pronunciation, and then great pronunciation is giving very good languages of skill, just English skill. That is limited points, I think. And my last reason of this reorganized education, English education, is we have nowadays we have very big flow of word, like around the world, like K-pop stars. Like we have K-pops in very famous all over the world, but our countries don't have international culture, I think. Just using grammar and reading, we don't have to, we are not good at English. Just people think about that. So the culture globalization is successfully very going on, but the in Korea, we inner parts of Korea, we are not globalization in culture. Just don't answer with strangers and just something like that. So
이미 끝났잖아. 시간.
So I think we have to reorganize English education system. Thank you.
7분대 두 번이고 맞어요. 네. 7분 30초 되게 붙이는데.
아, 1분 6분
1분 6분 7분에 두 번.
네, 그러고 이제 15, 30초 지나면 이제 들어오는 거.
Okay, excellent, very good introduction speech from the government. Now I'd like to call up the leader of the opposition. Please approach and present your team's opening arguments. Give her a round of applause, please.
Okay, I'm the leader of the opposition. It's true that the Korean students don't know how to speak in English, despite many years of learning English. But in order to make them improve their English writing and speaking skills, parents are going to put too much value on private children, so they're going to put too much money on the private education. So it's going to cause problems because only the parents who are really well off will only get the education, will only be able to afford money to give a high quality education to their kids. But people who barely make a living are not going to have a chance to get private education. So it ultimately leads to rich and poor gap, and it's gonna keep widening, and it leads to it's gonna keep widening, so it definitely goes into a vicious cycle, which is really already prevalent in our society. So that's the one problem. And the second point is that unless people are planning to work for like training in a commerce company, they don't really need English to use like in our society. So I think we think government should only provide strengthened education, English education system to people who are planning to work in fields which are related to trading or commerce companies. So. Yeah. So we think, based on the points I talked about before, so we think the only English education is needed for people who are going to definitely use English in an advanced level. So, yeah.
POI.
Okay.
If we teach English only to people who need it,
Yeah.
then wouldn't there be a problem occurring?
But like in their work, like in reality, people really don't use like people who work in areas that don't really are related to like trading or commerce company. They don't really use English that much in their work fields. So. But we think that English education is needed to be only for the people who are going to major in English or who are going to work in fields that are really related to like international training systems. Is there?
You finished?
Yeah.
포인트를 맞춰야 돼요.
Good, excellent.
POI를 더 할 거라서.
Good introduction from the opposition. Now I would like to introduce the Deputy Prime Minister from the government's team. Please step forward and present your argument. Give him a round of applause, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And today we have a really interesting motion that this House would strengthen English education. And as the Deputy Prime Minister of the government side, first I would like to rebut the opposition side. And second, I would introduce our arguments and my opinion about this motion. First, I would like to rebut the leader of opposition. First of all, in fact, I know that in Korea, a lot of parents use really much money on English education, but that is one big problem. But this project is promoted by government, so it is connected to public education. So if the government strengthens English education, we can solve the problem of private education. And poor children can't get, and if the government government strengthens English education, more and more poor children can get a chance to learn English because it's government policy. And we can also break the vicious cycle. And second is in industry, as the leader of the opposition said, salesmen don't really need English in company, but that's wrong. I know many cases who have a better job and better salary because they can speak English really well and can speak English really well, learn English. And if, in Korea, if it is not really good, but learning can speak English really well is directly related to wealth in Korea. That is the status quo. And people who can speak English really well can get a good job and better job and can get better salary. And we can't ignore the status quo that can speak English really well means rich. So English is one of most powerful personal power. So not only people who work in a trade job, but also people who can speak English really well, they can get more chance and more benefit from their skill speaking English really well. And also, if we educate more English to poor children, we can also change their life in their future, and we can also break the vicious cycle. So as the Deputy Prime Minister, I would like to introduce my arguments. I have three arguments about this topic. First is globalization, and second is economy, and third is private education decrease. First is globalization. In 21st century, the border between countries are closed, and many foreigners come into Korea, and many Korean people go out to foreign country. And in those relationship, communication is really important. And if we, in globalization society, if we strengthen our students or salesmen to learn English more and let them to give opportunity to learn English more practically, and they can more easily to communicate with foreigners who come into Korea, and they can also communicate with foreign people when they go abroad. So English is most important tools living in this society. And second is economy. Actually, in Korea, we have no resource in Korea. Our father generation and our teacher and professor said only man resource is power in Korea. So we make we make citizen in Korea who can speak really English. That could be one powerful tool in global society. So in order to be a strong country, make people can speak English really well is important, because in Korea there is no fuel, there is no resource, so only people, their skill and their ability to speak English is the most important powerful resource in Korea, actually. And even though if we strengthen the English education, then of course we need to put money on that. But in short term, we have to pay money for English education. But if we see in long term that the money we put into English education will come back to us, because when people learn English and get a global job, they can earn dollar and Korean's GDP will increase. So we have to look in long term. And also, if the government encourages English education more, people will stop to study. People stop go abroad to study, to learn English, and that we could also save the money which is used to parents send their children to go abroad. So and third is private education. When I said we got a little opposition. So this is my opinion, and thank you for your listening.
Excellent, very good. Let's be conscious of the time. When we hear the alarm go off, let's make sure we wrap up our comments. Good, no? Excellent. Deputy Prime Minister from the government, very good. Now I'd like to call up the deputy leader from the opposition team. Please come up and present your argument.
Hello. I'm on the side of the previous one, because you guys' opinion is we should strengthen English education, because globalization and economy and private tutor. But I didn't agree with you, because first, someone who wanna go to abroad, he just wanna go to the tutor because his reading is go to the global, and that's why he learned English. But most of people didn't go to the abroad, because in the survey in the Korea 1 year, 30% of Koreans go to the abroad, and another are just staying in the Korea. And second one is the economy. Korean human resources used by the Korean, but someone go to the abroad and meet the foreigner buyer or foreigner customer, but it is just upfront thing. So I think most of Korean just English is not bad. But I think we need some kind of specialized. Just someone who learn English very well, 집중적으로. How can I say? Just someone who is the learn English specialized and he using the English very well is better. Just to just to spread his ability is not good situation. And final one is the private therapy, but new system is used and then a new examination is used and appear and it make more private therapy. So I didn't agree with that kind of thing. And nowadays I think Korean grammar is in the destroy because most of Korean teenagers using the very destroyed Korean. For example, in the internet website, most of teenager or some kind of young people using the very destroyed Korean, like the shortage Korean or some kind of the mixed Korean. But it looks like sometimes it is very simple and very useful, but it looks like very how can I say destroyed. And Korean government laboratory report is the most of Korean examinations shows Korean people didn't know the Korean grammar because they always also Korean just concentration English education. So nowadays they didn't consider about the Korean grammar. So most of Korean forgot the Korean.
Okay.
Yeah.
But certain Korean language is the problem of the society in computer or internet. It is not the problem of the English education.
Maybe I think Spanish English education become a weakness of the love of the Korean and then make that kind of action. I think problem. So that's why my opinion is going like that. And then some nowadays in the world has almost 100 languages are survived, but before 100 or before 1 century, more languages are used still. And most of what languages people didn't try to the keeping practice. Or they didn't try to keeping
Keep practicing English.
Keeping practice English, their languages, so their language was disappeared, and nowadays just 100 languages are exist. So I think if we didn't care about our language, Korean, and Korean will be disappeared. So I think we should keep our own language. So yeah, thank you.
Good, excellent, thank you very much. Deputy Leader of the Opposition. Now I would like to call up the whip from the government team. Please give him a round of applause before
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am the whip of the government team, and so far I found 2 clash points in this debate. But I would like to first start my speech with a rebut for the previous speaker. He told us that strengthening English education is ineffective because a nation needs English speaker who has specialized, who has very good linguistic ability, not just overall students who, not just students who use English in the middle level. So I would like to say it again. He said we need someone who speaks English really well, not just a whole bunch of people who speak middle level English. But I believe that's not true, because overall strengthening of English for students in Korea is important, because that gives them the opportunity to have a qualitative English education. If we just insist on making elites of English speakers, then we have to depend on just a few number of English speakers who speak really well. Rather than that, we should strengthen overall English education for everybody, every student in Korea. I would like to move on to my clash point. The first clash point between government and the opposition team was that the government team wanted to strengthen English education, whereas the opposition team said because if we strengthen English education, private education is going to take place and cause a lot of waste of money and widen the gap between the poor and the rich. So we had clash point on whether we should strengthen English education or not. But I believe strengthening English education will decrease the amount of private education taking place. The government team said if we strengthen English education, we are going to strengthen not only grammar and reading, but also speaking and writing. I believe that if the government takes action and makes that education better, I think it could surpass the level of private education. So if government puts more or invests more money and reorganize the system of English education, it will provide better education than what a private education could. Therefore, the first clash points tell us that the government is stronger. And the second clash point I found was that the opposition team said strengthening English education is not important because only a few specialized people need English, not every citizen in Korea. So they were referring to people in commerce, people who do interpretation for a living, people who teach English, etc., etc. But that's where the clash point starts between government and the opposition. The clash point exists because we actually need English. Many people in Korea need English, in fact, because of globalization and the way the Korea's economy is set up. Because of globalization, many foreigners from overseas come into Korea, and their primary language is English. So many people in commerce, as well as just regular people, could talk. If they want to talk to the foreigners, they need the English education. Without the English education, they won't be able to communicate with foreigners, and that that will give the foreigners perception that Korea is not, the Koreans are not really good at English. We have to really change that because, for example, America thinks Korea's education is very good, and they also think English education is good. So if Americans come here and find out the reality of Korea, they can only do grammar and reading, no speaking and writing. They will be disappointed, and that will decrease the overall image of Korea. And that image is very important to Korea. And another reason why we need more English is that because of economy, the way our Korea's economy is set up. To cite an example, Hyundai, which is a very successful industry in Korea, which is representative of Korea's industries, they have only 12% for import and 88% for export. What does that tell us? Well, they're not going to sell more products to Korea. They're going to sell it to they're going to sell it overseas to people who speak English. So, because of these reasons, I believe the second clash point, which indicates that we don't need English that much, is false. We actually need English, and our Korea depends on English. Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Government Whip, for your very nice speech. Now let's call up the whip from the opposition to counter the government speech. Give him a round of applause.
처음 박수 치고 그리고 두 번째 박수 한번 칠 때 그 사이까지.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I stand here as a speaker of the opposition side, and I'm very honored to deal with this kind of sensitive topic today. And I really thank everyone for coming here in spite of the hot weather. Thanks a lot. And before going with my first point, and I would like to point out what government side wrongly mentioned. Firstly, they said that we need person who is great English. Yeah, I completely agree with government side because we also need person who specializes in English. We need translator in order to deal with globalization and in order to treat foreigners properly. Yeah, we agree with government side. We partially agree with government side, but it does not mean that everyone have to study English and everyone should be good at English as translator does. So we think that such an excessive English education and excessive level of English will only bring about harm throughout our society in our national level. Because it is race. Not every people need higher level of English. That's our point, and we focused on the harm of strong English education. Sorry. And before English, I have one more result. Then I clearly identify the fact that government side had the really wrong definition, and government side is actually practically. Then they said that teachers and they said that Korean teachers in school is able to teach the students writing skills and speaking skills. But we strongly disagree with what they has clearly mentioned, what Prime Minister has mentioned. Because Korean teachers is not a great English, unfortunately. They are great reading and they are great grammars, they have all grammar knowledge, I admit that. But they are seriously lacking. They are seriously lacking speaking ability and they are seriously also lacking writing skills. There's a reason why such a strong, strengthened public education cannot work properly for the sake of strong English ability.
I agree with what you said, but I think you're making a mistake in logic because that's the reason why we need to strengthen English, which means we need to reorganize the Korea's education system so the teachers would change as well.
So in order to do so, we need a high quality teacher who is able to use a high level of English, especially in terms of speech and in terms of essay or something like that. To teach the students, they should have outstanding ability. So there is a prerequisite of the education, prerequisite of what government is going to do. And that's it. And I'm going to move on to my question point. And then my first question is reorganizing the government side. Government side really placed the importance upon and between the reorganizing and the waste of time and energy that we have, as clearly mentioned, and let's see. First question. They said the government side said that we are going to also deal with writing and speaking skill from now on. So far, government has only focused on the reading skills or grammar knowledge, but they said that it should be changed. They are making additional burden to the entire students of Korea. Reading and grammar is already burdensome. It's a strong, very huge burden to the Korean students. In this context and in this situation, just to bring a further burden is really detrimental to the Korean students and really harmful to the Korean students because they cannot digest what they have learned in schools. Of course, the teacher cannot teach well, so in that case, the problem will be further intensified. So and we said that, so we think that the students have to spend twice as much as they did so far in order to additionally study speaking ability, in order to further in order to further improve their speech and writing skills. So it will leave less and less time for different subjects like economy or management or mathematics, and then in that case they are going to be lacking the very practical and very useful fundamental subject. You think that also foreign language is important, but we think that it is lower than the secondary. So you think that math or Korean or society or science, such a subject, is the core subject. And we call it core subject, and the English is also important, but it is less important than a core subject. In order to express in English, we have to learn many knowledge about whatever we deal with every day. So it's going to be wasting of time and energy to only focus on English, and then instead of studying English, we can improve our knowledge about economy and we can also improve our Korean linguistic skills, and that's our point. We can do many other things instead of just improving foreign language skills. Yeah. Thanks for listening, and then my time is over. 목소리 꺼져가지고
전혀 녹슬지 않은데 더 잘하시는 거예요.
이거 말을 못했어요. 이거를 아이덴티티 얘기하려고 해요.
Okay, excellent. Very good speech from the whip from the opposition. I know if we get very passionate in these debates that we often want to express our frustration, but again, let's show good manner to the other team and give them the respect and remain quiet as they're giving their speeches as well. Okay? Thank you. Let's have the reply now, the final speech from the government. Please come up. Oh, pardon me, from the opposition. That's right, we say on the opposition side. The reply speech from the opposition now, please. Give them a round of applause. One more time.
I have nothing to say, but we can keep it simple. Thank you, everyone. I'm again. As I mentioned, such globalization is very important. Yeah, globalization is very important, but in the process of globalization, what is very important for us is to preserve our identity as a Korean. That if we do not study Korean, then we are not Korean. What is the difference between the foreigner and us? We think that identity and our mother language can do that. So English education itself is good, but too excessive English education leaves less and less time for many other important things. And as I mentioned, such a thing is going to be very harmful, not only for the students, but also for our country, because our country should be very competitive. Because we admit that, because we also already know that the human resources, what the Korea only has. Yeah, that's true. But in order to utilize Korean human resources properly and in optimum level, we need to focus on the different competitiveness instead of English, instead of such a foreign language. By studying math or by studying the economy, we can get the great knowledge about what's happening in the world, and what really globalization is. Just English itself is normally a tool to express the opinion, tool to express our voice. So we think that such a fundamental subject is more important. After studying fundamental knowledge, we can also study English. And we do not need English just to hide the foreign policy. Because foreign just is no trivial job. So if we cannot guide them, that's okay. It does not undermine our national pride or stuff. Because we are Korean. If we cannot speak English, that can be also understood by them. Because they are Korean, they also cannot study Korean either. Because there is a global merit, they are going to simply understand. It does not go against the globalization. So we think that in order to prepare for globalization, we need our or refine identity. That is our point, and thank you for listening. And it's time over, or do I have
20 seconds.
20 seconds left?
Not much.
예. 오케이, then.
그러다 끝나니.
On top of everything, we don't want everyone to be the translator, or we don't want everyone to work for the trading company. There are many other things that we need to participate in, and there are many other fields that we are worthy participating, and we are worthy. Thanks for listening.
Sorry. Good, and our last speaker of the debate will be the government reply. Let's give him a round of applause.
Hello, I'm the final speaker of this debate. I carefully listened to the previous speakers said, and I understand what he says, but there seems to be some problems. It seems that they are thinking in the past. They think learning core subjects such as Korean and science is going to help us get through globalization. But it's not true. There are many examples where, Koreans don't really have to focus more on core subjects. They have to focus on English because what they do is they are really good at the core subject, but they are failing to globalize what they know. And the means to globalize what they know is English. If we weaken English, what they studied as core subjects would be rendered meaningless. And Korea is very innovative and have very good human resources, but they have failed. That's because they don't know, they are not really good at globalizing what they know. For example, we know this Facebook these days is really famous, but nobody knows that Facebook was just, there was another program or another website that is similar to Facebook created by Korean, but in the end, the Facebook won. Because Koreans failed to globalize it and make it aware to many others, they're not really going to be successful in the end. That's the same for the technologies. For example, Hyundai was very poor. It was thought as really poor, but these days it's really good. But people still think it's not good because Hyundai company, not anymore, but has been failing to globalize it. And that's part of because they aren't proficient at English and understanding the global culture. And I would like to move on to our government's arguments. Our first argument was that we needed to strengthen English education because we had to change the system of English education in Korea. The former English education system was based on grammar and reading, but we insisted that we need, on top of those two, we need additional speaking and writing. And our second argument was about how we need to strengthen English education because of globalization. If we don't strengthen, which means strengthening in terms of speaking and writing, we cannot adapt to globalized society. We will fail. No matter how smart we are, no matter how much human resources we have, we will fail. Because we cannot tell them what we have. We cannot present the world what we have. Our third argument was regarding to economy. Just imagine Korea without proficient English speakers. We wouldn't have reached this far. Our company would have failed at marketing, and we would have very poor awareness from foreign countries. That's our main arguments, and I would like to say that although it is difficult for students and teachers to study writing and speaking on top of grammar and reading, we're going to have to face it. If we don't face it, it's going to hit us someday. It's going to hit us someday very hard. Okay.
피자를 시킬까?
피자 빨리. 동료 피자.
we have feedback.
Do you want to give feedback?
Of course, yes, sure.
Or we can wait, or it's up to you.
전화번호 봐.
Then I'll call.
Okay, excellent. No, it's okay, go ahead. First of all, I'd like to congratulate you guys. You guys presented an excellent debate. Give yourself a big round of applause first. I'd like to commend both teams. I think you guys presented your arguments very well. I think, again, for a 30-minute preparation period before, you guys do the best that you can with the topics at hand, which is not an easy task. So I will give you feedback for each speaker of each team, and I'll point out some of the strong points and some of the weak points of each speech. First, I will begin with the Prime Minister from the government. First, I'd like to say, nice introduction. You did a very nice job with the introduction. Sometimes we're very nervous and tense when we deliver a speech, but you opened up with kind of a nice comment about the weather, and thank you for coming to the meeting. So that was really good. It made everyone feel comfortable. Then you went on to define the topic, which is very good. I think that's important. You defined the topic as, in Korea, we need to reorganize the English education system, which is very clearly defined. And then you went on to define even more. You went to say, reorganize means, right now we only focus on grammar and reading in Korea, but we need to focus more on speaking and writing. Good, excellent. You made a very good point there. You also made the point that there needs to be less focus on the tests in Korea, right? There's so much focus on tests that students tend to forget about what the main important part of the language is, which is to speak, right? So oftentimes that's an afterthought. Then you brought up another point. The second point you brought up is that the part about globalization. You said there are many international companies in Korea, and you said that the common language for these companies is English. If we fail to educate English speaking ability in the schools, we will suffer in the globalized economy. That was good, excellent, very good point. Then you made another good point, which was kind of funny, I thought. You said Koreans are not able to use practical language with foreign people. The comment about walking down the street and somebody asks where the post office is and you freeze, right? This is a very excellent point because many Koreans feel this way, that they aren't able to use English practically. So this is something that needs to be taught in the education system, right? In the schools, okay? Using practical English. Good. And your last point was that about the Korean influence around the world now with celebrities and movies and K-pop. Now we have a more of a globalized image of Korea. And with that globalized image, you feel that Koreans need to be able to promote the culture about Korea through the language. So that was also an excellent point. Yeah, it was very good actually. I think that you did a very good job about presenting your points, and I feel like everyone kind of understood what the point of your speech was at that point. So good, excellent job. Let's move on to the Leader of the Opposition. The Leader of the Opposition did an excellent job also. You did very well. You presented your points very clearly. You came out and you immediately identified. You said, it's true that Koreans cannot speak well. You admitted it. You said it right out. You said, that's right. The government says that Koreans can't speak English well, and I agree.